get right to it. Going Places presented by Toyota. First up, the process continues. The 76ers beat the Heat last night to win their first playoff series since 2012. Philadelphia will face the winner of the Bucks-Celtics series next, and according to BPI, the 76ers have an 80% chance to beat the Bucks, but just a 49% chance against the Celtics. So my man Jorge, do you believe the 76ers' dream season would end in a nightmare? Shout out Meeks Mills.
Well, let me tell you, they're on a train right now, and it's going, and it's going, and it's going, and it's going to have a stop at the Eastern Conference Finals, because once they get to Bron, this thing's over. Look, they are the team of the future, Key, but they are not the team of the present. I'm sorry.
That's the way I feel. I feel like, you know, you get there, and I say, I got to see one more game of Cleveland, and I'll let you know. If Cleveland doesn't look consistent and kind of struggling a little bit, then I'll say to myself, I feel like Philadelphia will be the team to represent the East. But if Bron does what I think Bron's going to do, it's a wrap. Now, I like Embiid. I like Simmons.
Sure.
Rookie of the year, the whole deal. They remind me of the older Orlando team with Nick Anderson and Penny, Shaq and those guys. They got a little ways to go. They're probably a year or so away, right?
Yeah, I think so.
A year or so away.
Depends on where LeBron goes. Maybe he goes there.
Oh, wait a minute. We understand that
cheating,
LeBron James is the game's best player, but the question is about the teams. And when you look at those Cavs, what makes you think the Cavs as a whole are so much better
That's like
than
me,
the
though.
76ers as a whole?
But that's like me with y'all on radio. I'm like LeBron. I carry y'all. Same thing.
No,
That's what he's doing.
Yeah, but you had to blow up team midway. You still got us with you.
Yeah. LZ, in all seriousness, though, when you see LeBron decide to just put his head down and get to the bucket like he did in this series a couple of times now, and he can get 30-plus points. They're 25-9 when he gets 30-plus points. To me, that's where the road ends. Just because he's that experienced, he's that great. They don't even have anyone that can compete with him on the defensive end. Don't give me Robert Covington, who's a nice player. He ain't stopping Bron, man. And by the way, the role players, Marco Bellinelli and Ersan Ilyasova, those guys are journeymen. They're playing nice in the first round against the Miami team, but once they have to go against maybe the Celtics or the Cavs, when they're going to be able to game plan against those guys, man, the clock's going to strike.
But you know,
midnight.
George, once you get hot and you get into a rhythm and you still comfortable about things, that's what happens.
You hear that buzzer?
Yeah, that means move to the next thing. Come on, man, I get it. I get it.
Coming up next, here's what they think about you. An anonymous offensive coordinator told you, Tom Pelissero of NFL Media, that Lamar Jackson won't be able to throw the football next level.
Put a name with it.
Nina Kimes and Dominique Doc Foxworth, I know, no unnamed sources, wrote a piece in The Undefeated that says Lamar Jackson could change the NFL if he got a chance. Karan Phillips of the New York Daily News writes, if Lamar Jackson were white, he'd be the first quarterback drafted. So, Keyshawn, can you explain to us why is there so much controversy about Lamar Jackson?
Man, that last quote that you read, it starts off right there. I was guilty of it as a receiver growing up as a kid, because when all you're being told is this brother who's the quarterback is going to pull it down and run. Now, I didn't want to play with black quarterbacks in high school because I was trying to get to college. I'm playing with black quarterbacks. I'm watching. I'm running my route. I'm open. But he pulls it down and he runs because that's what they're telling you. So you're not really watching the mechanics and understanding that he's a pure passer. He can do some things. You're getting sucked into the hype. And this happens now, even in this day and age in professional sports. You're being told that this young man can do everything with his legs, but not his mind and his arms. He's as sharp as all outdoors, mentally prepared to play football. But when it looks different and he wants to do it his way, he didn't hire an agent. He's allowing his mother to do the process. He made a decision. I don't want to run at the combine because you can put in the tape, and if it's not that big of a deal, I'm a quarterback and I run 4.5. What are you judging me on?
Yeah. But, George, when I think about the highlights, though, right, most of the highlights that we see are explosive runs, not necessarily brilliant passes.
But that ain't because, sorry to cut you off, but that's not because of him. He's not putting the highlights together.
Offense. Right, and by the way,
he's not putting the highlights together. That's the people cutting the directors and producers.
Now, I would agree with you that the latter point there is the central focus here. But the other part of the equation is this, LZ and Key, is that general managers, personnel guys, they're all about self-preservation.
Oh, yeah.
So they're going to say to themselves, I'm not going to think outside the box, because if I think outside the box, I can risk getting fired. Now, if I draft a more traditional, conventional guy, then I may have more opportunity to keep my job. So it's self-preservation 101.
But playing devil's advocate here, we had an MVP, someone that was in the Super Bowl, drafted #1. He was black. He was a running quarterback. His name is Cam Newton. So why would you suggest that Lamar Jackson's being held back simply because of his race when we have Cam Newton in the league?
But he's built differently, too.
No, everybody's not like that. It's 32 teams. Everybody doesn't think that way. You understand what I'm saying? It's one dude that's anonymous. He doesn't want to get fired. He wants to be the guy 4 years from now when he's on another team coaching, hey, Lamar, I like you, man. I always liked you. Great, great. Think about Coach McCarthy when he was at San Francisco with Aaron Rodgers. He had an opportunity to sign off on Aaron Rodgers. It didn't work. He's in Green Bay with him now. Hey, I like you, Aaron. I mean, that's just the way it is. It is that way. Lamar Jackson, to me, is my third best quarterback in this entire draft.
So you have
Well, I'm
Sam
a homer.
Darnold.
I'm a homer.
You got
Josh Rosen,
and then Lamar Jackson.
Then I'll go Josh Allen, then Baker Mayfield.
Yeah, I don't know what Baker Mayfield and Josh Allen are at the next level. So I'm with you. Like, Lamar Jackson, to me, has a higher ceiling than those two guys in the NFL if goes to the right system and gets the right coaching.
Well, it's all about coaching. Speaking of coaching, Belichick is one of the greatest of all time. I'll be back. Rob Gronkowski announced yesterday that he will return to the Patriots for the 2018 season. Peter King said the timing of his return could be tied to the team needing to know his intentions before the draft, or they could potentially move him earlier. Today, ESPN's Adam Schefter talked about Gronk's return. Take a listen.
Look, we had a situation here where I think the New England Patriots would have shopped Rob Gronkowski, and they would have had the ability to trade him. But Rob Gronkowski would have had the ability to say, I'm not going to the team that you're trading me to. I'm just going to retire. We've heard him talk about retirement. It was in the best interests of both parties to have this be the outcome. And so yesterday, Gronkowski spoke to Belichick. Look, he wants to play with Tom Brady. That's the quarterback that he wants to play with. He doesn't want to go play with another quarterback. And I think if they hadn't had that conversation, I think the New England Patriots absolutely would have been open to trading him. And I think Rob Gronkowski would have been open to the idea that he didn't have to report anywhere, so he could have backed out of a deal, nixing any trade from happening. So there are a lot of variables at play that led them back to where they were, which means that Rob Gronkowski is going to be playing this season for the New England Patriots and not anybody else.
Keyshawn, do you buy that theory?
That was always going to happen. He was always going to play for New England. It was going nowhere. Adam said it himself. Why wouldn't you want to play with the greatest quarterback, arguably the greatest quarterback in my generation, in my era, to ever lace on a pair of cleats? Why wouldn't you want to be with Tom Brady? Every single year, and I keep telling you guys this, there's always players that miss a few days of OTAs, and everybody goes, well, he must be holding out for money, he's just grown up, all of those sort of things. At the end of the day, he'll get his necessary workouts in, OTAs. Now, next year, that's a different story. We're only dealing with this year. He'll be a New England Patriot. They'll probably wind up going to the Super Bowl again, and they'll probably wind up winning again, and he'll be happy, and they'll ride off all into the sunset.
But, George, just like the San Antonio Spurs, right?
Yeah.
Like, this is a year in which we are not used to seeing this much turmoil come out of New England. So is there something to all this conversation?
Yeah, look, I think Adam makes a good point, but I do buy into Peter King's theory that Rob reported and Drew Rosenhaus went to this meeting with Rob Gronkowski and Bill Belichick because the Patriots will trade anybody. Tom Brady has actually said in the past, oh, I think this will end ugly. I don't think this will end pretty here necessarily. This was previous, obviously, to Robert Kraft saying Brady will end it however he wants to end it. So everyone in New England gets traded at some point or another unless you abide by Belichick's rules.
Yeah, that is true, but at the end of the day, they can't go very far without that guy in the lineup.
Oh, I'm with you 100%.
They can't go very far. I don't care what anybody says.
I know they won a Super Bowl.
I don't care what anybody says, LZ.
Yeah,
they can't go that far.
Or maybe you won't care about this then. Bad news, it's time for 3 jeers. Number 1, jeer for Cameron Maven of the Marlins Dodgers. Maven misses the ball, kind of, sort of.
Oh, come on, man. This is a guy who was supposed to be a 5-tool player.
Why do we always show baseball making mistakes, never looking glorious?
That's an interesting
Well, it's called
bounce.
jeers,
That's an
that's why.
interesting bounce on grass, though.
Yeah.
I guess. Number 2 jeers for Mac Williamson. The Nationals Giants. Williamson trips over the pitching mound.
Oh.
Yeah.
He needs to be in concussion protocol.
Yeah.
No concussion, man. He hit his head. He hit his shoulder.
Oh, man, it's
No,
right there.
Oh,
Bill.
that's his head.
That's his head.
They don't
Maybe hit your
do,
head.
they don't do concussion protocol in baseball.
3 jeers for Nomar Mazara, the A's Rangers. Mazara drops a home run ball.
Oh.
Maybe he's picking up a side piece for that.
It could have been worse. He could have hit him in the head like Jose Canseco back in the
Man,
day.
that's not so bad. He tried. At least he
That
tried.
is horrible, man. What about you just tried? Oh, man, that's terrible.
You
He
gotta catch
tried, LZ.
it. Get your hands on it. You gotta catch it.
UCF is claiming the national championship with banners and rings and everything. But are they doing too much? We'll ask former UCF cornerback Mike Hughes what he thinks.
This is Sports Nation.
Sports Nation is presented by Toyota. Let's go places.